Next topic is controller part 2. So we're going to continue learning about Spring MVC controller. Okay. So here we are going to talk about concept of URI template. We have already seen example of this. So this is URL in which you can specify a variable. Okay. A mapping request with other means. So far we have used just a URL to map to a controller and its method, right? But there are other means to specify in terms of which controller and which method that you want to use. There are handler method arguments that could be specified with this path variable and request prom annotations. And we'll talk about the concept of type conversion. And handler method that directly creates HTTP response. So instead of returning a view, you could actually create HTTP response directly and send it back to the client. Okay. Typically this is used when you have to send back XML or JSON data. I will talk about the concept of interceptor, and the last topic is going to be automatic attribute key name generation. So first topic is URI template. So what is URI template? So again, this is something we have already seen example of it. It is a URI that contains one or more variables. And these variables are represented in the form of curly brace and name of the variable. So when you specify request mapping annotation, the value of it, you can specify owners, that is hard-coded URL fragment, but the next one, owner ID, if you want to capture the value of it as a variable, then you're going to use curly brace. Okay, so again, this is something we have seen before. Now, in order to use this owner ID value as an argument, you have to use what is called the path variable annotation. We're going to see this example in the next 3 slides. By the way, the automatic type conversion occurs to the argument type. Okay, so when you have owner /3 and owner /5, and if you want to capture this guy either in the string or integer type, the Spring framework will do automatic type conversion for you, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail later on. Okay, so these values 3 and 5, that will be captured as owner ID variable. Alright, now in order to use it in your code, so suppose you have a method called the find owner method here. Now it is annotated with request mapping, and here we have URI template in which we have a variable called the owner ID. Okay, so this will handle URL requests such as myapp /owner /3 /5, well, whatever. Now if you want to capture this value of 3 or 5 or 4 as your argument, then in your method you have to use path variable annotation. Okay, and that specify the type of it. So in this case, I want to capture as a string type. If you want to capture as an integer type, that's perfectly fine, and Spring framework will convert into integer type for you. Okay, so without path variable annotation, the Spring framework doesn't know that this owner ID is the same thing as this owner ID. In fact, this argument name doesn't have to be owner ID, it could be XYZ. And in order to associate that particular argument with the variable in the URL, then you have to specify path variable like this. And then you can use that string or integer in your code. Okay, so that is URI template example. Example 2, you can certainly have a multiple of those. So suppose if you have a URL, so we have owners, and owners have pets. So what we want to do is that the owner /3, that is the owner number 3, and owner number 3 have a multiple pets. So we have a pets and /5. So 5 is indicating pet number or pet ID. Right? So in this case, we want to capture this owner ID and pet ID as variables, right? So this is a URL with a request mapping annotation, and in order to capture this owner ID and pet ID as argument, then again you are going to use a path variable annotations. Okay, again this owner ID and pet ID argument name does not have to match these two URL variable, but in general that is a good practice. Okay, That's example 2, in which we see multiple variables are used in the URL. And you can certainly have the different URL. This is the class level request mapping annotation, and then you have a method level the URL annotation and the request mapping annotation, and each of those request mapping might have its own variable. Okay, and in this method we should be able to capture both owner ID and pet ID. So this is in fact pretty much the same thing as this guy, right? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So this is the request mapping at the method level, right? And this is where we have request mapping at the class level and method level, and these two will be concatenated. So result is going to be pretty much the same. So this one and this one should work pretty much the same. Make sense? Okay, so let's do exercise 1. So exercise 1 is again, we are going to use existing sample application. So you are going to import the project. So I have already imported the project. So the URL template. So all you have to do is right click it, run as, and Java application. And again, select the main application. Okay. Okay, so it is up and running. So we're gonna go over here and then select localhost 8080, and we should see, oh, you know what, I think this is still running the old application, so I have to stop it. Okay, so I just stopped it, and then we're gonna rerun it. Okay, now we're gonna, oh, is this the let me see whether that is what is expected. Oh, okay, looks like that is hello string 1. Oh, that's not it. Yeah, so this is actually the problem sometimes. I'm gonna actually use the Chrome in this case. So let me just close this guy and let's open this guy. Okay, so this is correct. Is that right? Yeah. Well, that's not right. What I expect is URI template sample project, and message 1 is selected. So here we are using hello ID, and we just capture this hello ID and things like that. Okay, so this is an example where refresh. Yeah, am I actually running the right application? URI template. Yeah, so that is right. Why is actually displaying the old application? Yeah, I think sometimes the browser has a cache, and I thought I actually disabled F12 and yeah, disabled cache. Let me just refresh the page. Oh, now it works. Okay, all right. So okay, so I am going to, yeah, so in this case, hello world 1 should display message 1 is selected, and hello string 2, message 2 is selected, and hello int. Yeah, so this is a case that we are, you know, capturing the URL data in the form of string, and this one is in, you know, receiving as the int type. Okay, all right. So basically here we are capturing as a string type, and here we are capturing as an int type. Okay. All right, for your own exercise, I want you to do and modify the code so that you know, you are going to handle hello string, and then you want to capture the next one as hello ID, and the other one is a greeting. Okay, so suppose I say hello world, hello. Oh, so it looks like this one should be hello int. Okay. Or hello string, so either one is fine. You can use either one. So now the value of hello ID and then greeting in this case will be captured, and then you should say greeting message is hi. So you're gonna just capture this guy and just display it, right? So that's your own exercise. Okay, so this is actually doing hello world, hello int, 2 and hi, 2 and hello. Yeah, so it's just displaying hello, in this case displaying hi. All right. Okay, so that is the exercise. I'm gonna actually present exercise 2 as well, and then I'll give you guys bigger chunk of um, the lap time so that I can go for lunch. And let me actually make sure that I save this guy as the part 01 first.